welcome again to Ace's interview. Powerful conversation to inspire. I'm Leo, and today I'm joined by Michael Dorang, life coach for Toronto, Canada, who helps people with the symptoms of midlife crisis. Michael helps those who are feeling lost that disconnected from their lives, regain their passion and realign their value to find a purpose again. His passion is to assist people to feel significant. So, Michael, in which ways do people ask you to help them feel more significant?
Oh, that's a great question, Leo. And first of all, thank you for having me on to do this interview. It's a great opportunity. But the way that people find themselves feeling insignificant or a little left behind, that life seems to be moving on without them, it pretty much comes back to the old saying, no one can make you feel anything without your permission. So what I do is I help people look inside themselves to find where that bit of stuckness is that's not allowing them to feel like they're moving forward with the world around them. And so from there, once we find that, we can realign them to where they feel they're supposed to be, where they want to be in their life. So that will take care of the feeling insignificant or feeling left behind.
Yeah, I think sometimes we all need a bit of help, don't we, to find out which areas in our life might be feeling sort of less than what we're hoping they will be like. So I guess it's about that exploration.
It is. And what I find in most of my clients is that it comes down to what they're valuing and the values that they have. Because most people don't understand that our values can change as our lives change and as we change as people. So if your values aren't getting updated as your personality and the person you're becoming gets updated, then you're trying to exist inside a value system that's no longer valid to the person you are. So the main part of my practice really right now is helping people realign their values to take a look at the way they are. And I'm not talking like core values, because our core values define us as people and they don't change. The basics of who we are inside, that's pretty much lifelong, but it's the other things around that. Um, because like if you're going through life and having life experiences, like for instance, if you get a new job, your values can change greatly because you're making a lot more money, you're maybe moving to a new location, you have a whole new set of friends. That's going to shift how you're looking at the way that your life is put together. And the way that I like to look at it is that our purpose is our why. That's the why we do what we do, and our values is the how. So that creates the framework for how we're going to be acting within our environment. So when people are in that stuck place, when they're feeling insignificant, it's usually because their values are holding them back from being creative and being positive in the space that they're in.
Yeah, and I get our values, even though we may sort of assume that they are, again, those days that you are talking about, which it can change with time and situation, can also be affected a lot by those around us.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Um, I said before, there's two types of values. There's our core values that define us as people, and then there's what some people call crusted values, which are the values that we put on top of our core values. And those are the ones that can change. And those actually come from external sources. They're given to us by our parents, by our religion, if you're raised in a religious way. They're given to us by our friends. You know, they say that you are sort of an average of the five people that you spend the most time with. So you're picking up other people's values, teachers, um, managers, bosses. It's like we get them from all over the place. So what you really have to do is examine your values, decide, you know, where they have come from and if they actually serve the person that you're trying to be. And if your values are out of alignment, that's going to block you from your purpose, which is going to make you feel insignificant and stuck and not having a very fulfilled life.
Yeah, that's so true. Like when we feel below in some way, it can impact so much of our life content.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It can affect our entire lives. You know, it's funny when I think about values, um, like just to give an example, someone who's building their own business, like you'll see them get to a certain point and then everything stops and then they fall back a little bit and they start building again and they get to that point again and then they stop. Well, there's some sort of block there, whether it's a money block, um, some value that they're trying to live up to that's holding them back, that's put that block into place. So they need to get rid of that block before they can get past that point. And you see it in sports teams all the time. I mean, who hasn't, you know, been angry at their favorite sports team because they sort of get to the championship and then fall apart in the first game or whatever. You know, it's the same kind of thing. There's You need to be aligned to the values that are going to get you to the position that you want to be in.
Yeah, so true. Then my next question for you is what inspires you?
Oh my goodness, I get inspired by so much, but really to what inspires me to do this work, this coaching work that you and I are so blessed to be a part of, is all of the things that I've gone through in my life have that have held me back and that have really put things in my own way, have actually made for, I won't say a miserable life because my life has been miserable in any way, shape, or form, but it has not been as good as it could have been. And it's been like a pretty um, unappealing place to be for a lot of times. And what inspires me is being able to help people to not be in those places, to have them get themselves out of where I used to be. So it's kind of, um, you know, there's a saying that says when you get out of your darkness, grab a lantern and go back for the people that are still there. That's what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm helping lead people out of their darkness.
I love that analogy. Yeah, when you put your way out with the light guys, I can help others. I love that, and I think that a brilliant analogy for a coach.
Hmm.
And by the way, Joey, everyone, for that little bark, my dog was agreeing with what Michael had to say. So, my next question to you, Michael, is what difference would you like to see or make in the world?
Well, you know what? It's pretty simple. One of my core values, absolutely instilled in the person that I am, is that I want to help people. And so what I want to see as my legacy, as the difference that I make in the world, is that I make people better than when I found them. And like the training that I've had for coaching and doing this job is um, doing this work is really a big part of that. So that's really the change I want to see. I want to make this world a better place. I don't want to see people that are living in disharmony with themselves. Um, and there's like a big, well, not a big thing. There's a movement sort of in the self development area now that says that sickness actually comes from our mental state. So it's not, that there is a sickness, it's that we are in dis-ease with ourselves. We're not connected with ourselves. We're not in that place of ease and that place of harmony. So, if I can help someone get out of that space, that for me is like, with everything that's going on, that's the cherry on top of the cake. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, I really agree with you that. Like, I really resonate with, I think, a lot of sort of illnesses can be really affected by our mindset and how we think about ourselves and how overwhelmed we are, or whatever. And like you said, this is
Yeah.
when we're not comfortable with something about ourselves or something in our lives. And I agree. If we kind of work and help people to look at those areas, I do think that, it can really help people with physical ailments.
Yeah, and I've been doing a bit of research for a class that I'm working on, and I came across this thing about how our personalities can actually step backwards, sort of. So we at a very base personality, if you look at an infant who's just a newborn, less than a year old, they're really concerned with two things. They're concerned with avoiding pain, and they're concerned with seeking pleasure. And what that is in the part of their brain that gets activated when they're doing that, when they're at that sort of base level, that's your amygdala, that's your lizard brain. So that is really like, you can think of it as like the caveman thing. You are just like trying to find food and trying not to get eaten by an animal. It's very basic. You're dealing with your like fight or flight kind of um, energy in your body, and when you're in that state, it's pretty much causing stress because you are not comfortable enough to have you're seeking to get your needs met, and you're seeking to get it done immediately. So um, when you're in that sort of state, your body is actually under stress. And when you look at all of these ailments and stuff that we have in modern life, like how many times does your doctor say you're under too much stress? The high blood pressure, the high cholesterol, the heart problems, the diabetes, this, that, and the other thing. It's like there's hundreds and hundreds of things that are affected by stress. And if you're in that state of the lower brain function of just avoiding pain and seeking pleasure, then your body is in a state of stress. It's low level stress that you might not realize you're in, but it's still stressed. So you have to move out of that into, more of an understanding kind of thing, and get to um, sort of into, again, I'm going to bring it back to values, but you get into more of a different value system, so that uh, you sort of like move up a level. There was a gentleman, Kohlberg, who did a study on value systems and that sort of thing, and he created like 4 levels that people go in. The first one is, like I said, avoiding pain and seeking pleasure. The next one is subordination to um, individual authority, which means that this is what we get from our parents. So this is when you're in your toddler phase into like preteen. Then teenagers is you go into more of a group set of values, and those are what you get from your friends, your teachers, your religious leaders, that type of thing. And that sort of steps up. The larger your group gets, is the more subordinated you get. And that runs through actually to midlife, where you get to your midlife crisis, where you are entering your next level of sort of value systems, which is your transcendence, where you start to question all your values, and you get to sort of move out of the ones that are no longer serving you. But a lot of times people never get to that 4th level of transcendence. They're still in the subordination. And when you're in there, when things start to not work, if you don't move into transcendence, then you move backwards. And that's when people get stuck in the avoid pain, seek pleasure kind of thing.
And why do you think people find it so difficult to enter into that next level?
Sorry.
Why do you think people find it so difficult to enter into that next level?
Well, because values can be a really tricky thing, because when you start talking about values, um, people often confuse values with morals. So if you're talking about, I want to be good to people, I don't want to hurt people, that sort of thing, you're talking about morals, which are, being socialized, being able to live in society. Values are a little different. Values are very individual. So, you could have a value of not harming people or not harming human beings. That's why a lot of people become vegetarian, because they don't want to hurt animals. And that is a value, but like, just, you don't want to push somebody over in the street. That's morals. So it gets tricky in there. And also, again, people don't understand that values change. As your life changes, your values change. Like, for instance, like if you get married, there is a huge shift in values. If you have a child, again, a huge shift in values. And unless you incorporate that shift, you're, like I said it at the very beginning, you're trying to live a life that, based on a value system that is outdated and is not serving you. So like that's sort of like, if you can get to a point where you can question that and let go of those old values, which for a lot of people is really difficult, because if you grew up in a church, where like they have laws of like, this is it, this is it, this is it, and you try and go against that, it can be very, very difficult to question that type of thing. And even those values may not be serving you at the present time.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think letting go of certain values can be really quite hard for people, even though and not really serving them. But I suppose when people do find the strength to let go of the values that are no longer serving them, it opens up so much more opportunity for that person.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And the thing is if you're not living it, like if your values aren't matching the type of life you're trying to live, then you're going to be causing that stress, and we talked about everything that comes with that. So it's really important that people have a good handle on what their values are and how their values are serving them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I wish it we could keep talking, but I'm trying to keep it to 20 minutes. So thank you so much to my guest, Michael Dorang. Michael, where and how can people connect with you?
Oh, uh, I have my own website, which is www.wayfindercoach.ca. It is a .ca because I'm in Canada. I'm also on the social media networks. I'm on Instagram under Michael Dorang. I'm on Facebook under Michael Dorang and also Wayfinder Coach. And I'm also on LinkedIn under Michael Dorang. So they can find me anywhere in those places.
Great, and I'll share all your social media links and your website with his Instagram. So thank you to everybody who watched this and actually the interview. Will be back soon with another powerful conversation. Thanks. Bye everyone.
Thank you, Leo. Bye.